Okay, we're live.
Yeah. Wow, it's working.
First time ever.
Yeah. So this is the Should Run with Gas podcast. My name is Chase.
I'm Kyle.
This is Kyle. And we are just going to talk about a bunch of random stuff probably today because we don't really know what we're doing.
No, this is the first time. I'm a little nervous.
So
I don't know why.
Went out and bought a bunch of really cool podcast and setup stuff. So we look all fancy.
Yeah.
And maybe look like we know what we're doing, but we really don't. So I guess we'll just start. You just had a show.
We did. The 7th annual Kyle Spring show was here. It's
7 years.
7 years.
Wow.
It was the third one we've done in the spring. We used to do it in the fall. It was terrible. Weather sucked always. Rainy, cold. You know how it is. But Hillbilly Flywheelers shut down, and we go over their show and started hosting those guys up here with us. And so we just took their weekend as well.
Oh, okay.
And it just so happens to be it's the same time as the Allman pre-30 auction. So it kind of helps bring some crowd here. Mm-hmm. So therefore, they can transit both ways here and there. But
yeah,
we had a pretty good time. 278 gas engines, not counting the ones that was in the barns.
Yeah.
I don't know how many tractors. People, I have no idea. We had 19 different states, 3 countries.
I seen you had a thing.
Yeah, there's
out.
a register here somewhere. I don't know where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah, I came down on Friday with Dad, and it was kind of crappy weather, but didn't really seem to scare many people off.
I was really surprised. They called for 90% chance of rain all day, Friday and Saturday. Friday was decent. Saturday was, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So we've gone a lot further for a lot less. So
okay,
what's new in your world?
Well, aside from the YouTubing, just trying to get all my stuff that I've had for 20 years running. That's my biggest thing.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I think as anybody that's in this hobby is aware of, you buy stuff and it sits and
projects accumulate.
Well, you buy one project and that's the new hot thing, and then it gets pushed to the side because you find the next new hot thing, and then 10 hot things down the road.
Right.
It's just sitting there.
That's like when Rachel was pregnant with Bo, and I was going out buying projects like crazy.
Oh yeah.
I figured, hey, I'll have the time. I won't have the money. I'll buy projects because I can work on them here and there. I'll have all the time in the world. Shit, I have no time.
Wrong. Yeah. My job takes all my time. So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The little bit of time I do is either attempting to do honeydew stuff, which, if you ask my wife, I'm terrible at.
Right. Likewise.
I could improve on that, but yeah, if it's not that, then I'm in the garage with what little bit of time I have to work on something and film and make a YouTube video. So.
And your YouTube videos are really taking off.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, they're interesting. They're informative. It brings a lot of, awareness to the hobby, I guess.
That was a point. I wanted to, get away from like the Facebook groups and things like that, where it's just people that are searching for that.
Yes.
And as you know, YouTube's such a large platform. I try to make it not so much geared towards people that are already in the hobby,
right,
but make it entertaining for anybody,
right,
and also to show that these things aren't rocket science.
No, they're really not.
It's a single cylinder engine. There's not much to it. I mean, they can get fancy, but
I get on Facebook and there's people. What's the torque specs of this, and what's there is none. Just go with it.
I had a friend that came up to the house, and he's used to working on new stuff.
Right.
And he said that was one of the biggest things. It's he goes, well, I had to get a manual, and I was reading through the manual, and he goes, it was the worst written manual I've ever read, and it was so vague and stuff. And I said, yeah, just
right.
That's kind of how it was back then.
Oh, absolutely.
Just don't ever.
Well, everybody wants to take tolerances, to thousandths and 2000ths and 3000, plus or minus quarter of an inch, man.
Pretty much.
I got engines here that will not run, like my South Penn, 25-4 South Penn, my very first oil field engine. If you tighten the main bearings up with a wrench, it will not run. They just got to be barely finger tight, and then it'll run all day.
I can't tell you how many times I've pounded a piston out of a cylinder and, it'd be pitted or something like that.
Yeah.
And, somebody will come over to the shop and look at it and be like, you going to have it sleeved or are you going to do something with that? Nah, it'll run. It'll run fine. It's not like I'm powering something with it. It's sitting there. It'll actually help it run slower a little bit.
If you were using it every day,
it'd be a different story.
Yeah, but we're not. We're not. We're just totally dicking around and having fun and
it's just
enjoying it.
Meant to be a hobby and enjoy it and not overthink it. We
years ago when I was bigger into the oil field stuff, there was a 12-horse Reed I'd bought, and a friend of mine bought it from me. But the cylinder was pitted so bad, he took lab metal. I think he got it Fastenal or something like that.
Yeah.
And just laid it in there and honed it out, and perfect. Still runs. I mean,
I've used JB Weld quite a bit.
Oh yeah,
and I've had luck with it. First time we did it, Dad actually did it. It was on a Leroy Centaur tractor,
right?
And we were early on into rebuilding stuff, so we didn't know there was an aftermarket. And we're like, oh, well, we'll never find another block or anything like that. We don't want to spend the money to have it board. So I'm like, there we go. And that thing ran and it didn't smoke. And and it's another guy in town where I'm from still has it and drives it. And
really,
oh yeah.
Well, and Chase, I remember you from, I don't know, the Harry's Old Engine days. Back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that'd be where we met. Would be on there.
Yeah, on Smokestack.
Yeah, on Smokestack.
And as much as that's kind of fell off a little bit, I still personally I go to that website just about every day.
It's a good source for if you know how to navigate the internet and use the search button.
Right.
There's so much information on that page or on that form. 30 years worth of people, and people that have been dead and gone for 10 years have more or less wrote dissertations on that form of anything and everything, all the way down to if you want to learn the history of certain companies. These guys. Oh yeah. By the time you get done reading them, you feel like you knew the person personally,
like C.H. Wendell and all the economy and Hercules stuff and the big yellow book, the red book. That guy just the amounts of information that he had. Allman sold all that stuff here. I don't know late last fall or something like that. But
it was in the last year.
The amounts of information that was there were just phenomenal.
And speaking of him, I can't fathom putting all that together.
Oh my gosh,
I have no idea how you could have the time and know all the places to look to accumulate all that, and then to organize it like he did, like the big yellow book. We call it the Bible for a reason because it has pretty much everything. There's very few engines out there that aren't in that book.
Right.
And it blows my mind that he was able, and that's not the only book that he's done. That
he's got dozens of books.
Yeah, and they're all the same. And I can't fathom having the time and the commitment to be able to do that.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if we was retired or something, we could do it. But
yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not there yet.
I wish it was. I think we all wish it were.
Oh yeah.
So,
but on any event, projects. When I first kind of met you on the internet on Smokestack, you lived with your mom and dad.
Yep.
And you were always notorious, maybe still are. Well, no, you're working on stuff now. You would just buy stuff and just stash it.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
My friends would call it my static collection.
Yeah.
My stationary engine collection. I still get teased about that. I will say, with me starting the YouTube, it's helped. Yeah, well, I've got more engines running in the last 8 months than I think I have in the last 15 years.
Well, hey, you're on a roll.
But like I tell Dad all the time when I go out and find something to buy, which is like every other week, it seems like.
Right.
I'm at least looking at something. I'm like, if it's a good deal and you got the money, just go buy it.
Right.
If you're not hurting,
right,
then what's it going to hurt to sit?
Hey, if the bills are paid, and food on the table, you got a little extra cash, do it.
You gotta buy it when you see it. So,
well, and that's the thing. We bought a lot of stuff, and we didn't really have the money to do it. And it's just like, oh shit, how do you justify this? Well, it's a one-time opportunity.
Exactly.
And you might have to eat peanut butter and jelly or ramen noodles for a couple of weeks, but you make it work.
There's been quite a few times at eBay.
Oh my gosh.
That where. You transfer all your money through PayPal and whatnot on eBay. So, I usually have cash if I'm going to go buy engines.
Absolutely.
But if it's eBay, you're, currency across through PayPal, and I can't tell you how many times where there's something in there I'll be really wanting it, because I also collect old blowtorches too. Well, I've gotten crazy into like some of these blowtorches. They, you could compare blowtorches to like Foose engines. There's some that are stupidly priced.
I don't know nothing about blowtorches.
Okay, little brass blowtorch.
Right.
I have spent upwards of $1,000 on just one.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah,
lanterns. I mean, there's 400 and some lanterns in here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Complete stupidity.
So, aside from the engines, I collect those, and that's where I was going with the eBay deal, where I've sat and looked at what was in my bank account, tried to think in my head what bills, because some of the stuff's auto pay, what bills are going to be coming out before this auction ends, so I can go and know how much to bid on this. And many a times where I'm like, all right, well, I get paid next week, and it's going to leave me with $200. I'm like, all right, well, I'll just peanut butter sandwiches it is for a week. So, and
you get good at it after for a while, but
it's a science. Yeah, it becomes a science.
It is. It still is a science. I mean, I still do the same thing. I mean, not as much, but I try to limit my expenditures to what I can actually afford.
Well, you got a tiny human to look after.
Yes,
so
yes.
You can be a little more responsible.
Like a little Tasmanian devil. Absolutely. But no, it's a lot of fun. Just for me, it's the hunt.
Yeah.
Tracking the stuff down, buying the stuff, and after I really buy it, it's just kind of what do I do with it now?
I'm the same way. The thrill is in the hunt, and then once you have it, it's fun owning it, because you can always go and start talking with people, and
absolutely,
you start having the size measuring contest. Well, I got this, and I got this,
right? This stuff ain't nothing but a grown ass man's show and tell.
That's exactly what it is.
I mean, he's got a trophy, and I got a cookie or something.
Yeah. So, but it's great to sit on the. What is going on here?
It's blowing up.
Our one dog's got a GPS collar, and when he goes outside of range,
oh boy,
it alerts. I'm just going to put this on vibrate, because he's probably not done being bad. Yep. So,
and the people that you meet along the way is just extraordinary. I mean,
I've had more people reach out to me in the last year with help with stuff, because I've been putting more of my stuff that I own out there, and come and just people I don't know, and be like, hey, I got this. I see you don't have this on your engine. Do you have it? Or I've got a spare one or something like that. And it's just amazing, because it's like you said, it's a show and tell, and at the end of it, we're all in it for one reason. We want to see all this old stuff run.
Oh, absolutely.
It survived. A lot of the stuff survived World War I, World War II scrap drives.
Absolutely.
And when they were built, there was hundreds of them, maybe thousands, but
and they were never designed to last this
exactly.
long.
They weren't meant.
Period.
They weren't meant to be around this long, and we're essentially caretakers of them. Is what it comes down to. They're going to outlive us, so if you can bring the dead ones back to life for future generations to enjoy, then why not?
And that's another thing. Facebook. There's I don't know how many pages on Facebook. 50, 60 gas engine pages
easily,
which is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. Every brand has its own page, it seems.
Yeah.
It's, to keep up with it, I don't. I'll scan it, whatever.
What's annoying with all them pages, you see something in one of the pages that you want to go back and find.
Oh, yeah, it's gone.
And then you don't even know what page it was on, so then you're sitting there doing the whole search thing.
Yep. Well, and then somebody gets all pissed off and butthurt over something, and they start their own page. It's just like...
Yeah, it's not really. I mean, some of it's necessary, I guess, but...
Here we go.
Yeah.
And parts, people, we got, there's 2 large engine dealers here in Ohio, and I don't always agree with what they do with their business, but that's their business. But, they make it so if you need parts, you can call, and they typically have what you need for used parts. And then you got, a couple new parts suppliers. I support Starbolt.
I use Bill all the time.
Yeah.
That's
Bill
my
and Linda,
go-to.
great friends. I have used the Flywheel Supply just for a few things. it's available.
Yep.
The stuff is there. It's available, and I'm thankful for that because I'm not a machinist by no means.
Me either.
No, I mean I got everything to do it. Don't know how to use it. But
I'm a hack machinist.
I am too. Absolutely. I guess the biggest thing is, I mean, if you find an old engine and it's not all there or something like that, don't get discouraged.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the thing, you know, a lot of these younger collectors, guys our age, you know, they're raising families and this and that and whatever else, and they're wanting to get into the hobby to enjoy it, but they're getting discouraged because it's missing a bunch of parts. Mm-hmm. Well, just buy the damn thing.
You know, the first engine, when me and Dad were getting into collecting, we wanted a larger engine, and it happened to be a friend of ours was getting a 15-horse Reed off of an oil well that was close to us, and he said that there was another engine that he found out about, but it was missing some pieces.
Right.
I forget what it was. I think it was an Evans.
Okay.
You know, something nice.
Right.
And we didn't know any better. We didn't have any engines.
Right.
Maybe had a Fairbanks Morse horse and half Z. I don't remember. But we didn't know enough. And to your point, it was missing the main bearing caps.
Right.
So we were like, probably finding those would be next to impossible.
Right.
We didn't know. So we passed on it. Well, then a year goes by and go to an auction, bought an engine. I probably found the smokestack page, honestly. Right. And seeing that all this stuff was out there. There was a classifieds, you know, on smokestack. Engine ads. Everybody still uses engine ads. And I got to talking to Dad. Now, mind you, at this time, I wasn't driving, so maybe 12, 13 years old.
Right.
So
that's about when I got into it.
Yeah, early 2000s.
I got it 2000.
Yeah. So 12, 13 years old and surfing the interwebs. Come to find out, I'm like, hey, this stuff's out there. Mm-hmm. So we go back to go look at the engine, remember where it was at, yada, yada, yada. And go knock on the door of the house. And it was in the shed and everything still. And we asked, you know, hey, is that engine still there? And nope. The husband wanted to use the shed for firewood, and he pulled the engine out and scrapped it. Oh, gosh. Oh, it was a sick feeling. Well, you know, we figured out what it was, and we figured out the parts were there. Right. And we kicked ourselves. I always think of that. From that point on, I learned that either if you're at an auction and an engine's going for a steal that's missing a bunch of parts, buy it anyway. Right. Because somebody out there may need the one piece that engine has to complete theirs. And like you mentioned, we have some very large dealers here in Ohio and don't always agree with some of the things they do as far as parting engines out. But on the flip side,
it's there.
It's there. The parts are there, and you got to look at it from the standpoint of, okay, he parted one engine out that may have been a decent engine for somebody else.
But it's going to fix 20 others.
How many engines is that going to fix?
Right.
You know.
Right.
And you just keep that in your mind. You know, I know those guys get a lot of slack.
Oh yeah.
Which
we give a lot to them.
I was going to say, both of us, we know them quite well. So
yeah. I mean, I consider them friends.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I like to harass them a lot, you know.
It's fun.
And
when you know somebody personally to that level, you can really poke and prod.
Right. And they kind of know that you're just kind of messing with them.
Yeah. It's fun.
Some people just take that stuff way too seriously.
It's a hobby.
It is. It really is. But no, I mean, to find stuff anymore, parts-wise, it's just going back to the Facebook pages, you just have a huge, huge opening. Not only do you have the United States, you have Europe, you have all over the world to find stuff. And it's just, it's phenomenal because somebody in, I don't know, United Kingdom might have an ejector tip for a Ruston Hornsby that you cannot find one here in the United States. Okay. 2 weeks later, it's showing up in your mailbox.
Yeah, if you're willing to pay the shipping, you can have it.
I mean,
I know I got a 5-horse Samson that I needed an igniter made.
That's those ones made on California, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And another guy up in Ohio has an 8-horse.
Okay.
And he let me borrow his igniter. And I had a new one cast. A friend of ours did the castings on it. And when he cast those, he made, I think, 3 extras.
Okay.
Well, it turned out that, 3 wasn't enough because he sold them all immediately.
Oh, boy.
And one of them ended up in Australia.
Oh, wow.
A guy had a Samson, I think it was a 4-horse.
Right.
And I think the igniters will fit all the way up through the larger sizes. They're all the same.
Right.
And he ended up getting, or the guy got a hold of him and said, hey, I need that igniter. Is there any other pieces?
Is that a bird?
It was a bird. Is there any other pieces that you have that could be made?
Right.
You got a parrot in here?
Dude, I have no idea.
Oh, you got a bird in here now. It's coming in the door.
Some freaky bird sex or something going on.
Anyway, I got my igniter back, and when I got it back, the guy hand delivered it to me. Real professional. Well, he hand delivered it to me, so you could take the rest of the parts off my engine, so you could copy that for the guy that needed them in Australia. And I'm fine with it. I've had an engine. I bought the engine in Oregon off of Craigslist.
Right.
And had it. The guy shipped it to me through Fastenal, which is the greatest thing ever. Had it shipped it to me through Fastenal, and it was missing a few pieces. Like I said, it was missing an igniter and a couple other things. And by the end of it, by the time I borrowed the igniter and had the other pieces made for that other guy, the rest of the pieces that I needed magically appeared when I got all my stuff back, because the guy that was making the stuff had dimensions, because the other guy that was in Australia had things that I didn't have, and he got the dimensions, and as a appreciation to me loaning the parts, he just made, it was just turning some stuff on a lathe, but
absolutely,
it was stuff I didn't have. So
made your engine complete.
Yeah, it's complete. Yeah, minus the igniter, I don't have that yet, but
well, I mean, it's coming.
It's coming.
Right.
But
and that's another thing. I bought an engine. It was an 8-horse Etna. And a friend of mine bought it, and I bought it from him when I bought it from his wife when he passed away. The whole entire bottom of the cylinder was completely ate out from brine water. Head was all ate out. I'm like, I'm never going to find parts for this thing. Period. I mean, there's just no. That's it. Well, we were talking about having Greg Thompson out in California braze everything, because that guy's just is a magician with braze. Oh my gosh!
I can't tell you how many engines he's done saved.
Yeah. Oh, it's unreal what he does. But we sent him pictures of everything, and it was just going to be just way too costly, and it was going to be just a real pain in the ass just to do all that. So we reached out to Bill Hazard. He's out in eastern Pennsylvania, and he's very good with CAD work and stuff like that. And he actually basically built that cylinder on CAD, sent the file to a place up in Decatur, Indiana. They printed out a sand mold and sent it to Cattail.
Really?
And they poured it. So we got a brand new cylinder and a brand new head for an Etna engine that's ready to go back together, but just, time putting it back together. But all in all, it was about $4,000. So
that ain't bad.
No, I didn't think so at all.
So I've used Bill before. I've got a 5-horse air motor that had. Don't ask me how. Somebody grafted a Fuller and Johnson head on it.
Well,
and used an updraft Lunkenheimer mixer on it, and it again another Craigslist purchase. It came from Minnesota, and it's cheap. That's me. Everything I buy is cheap.
Absolutely.
So I got it, and I'm like looking at the pictures, and as you know, Craigslist, they don't always take the best pictures. I'm like, that head looks weird, but it was painted up real nice, and it looked like it matched, and it had. Whoever did this went as far as putting the casting Z number on it.
Oh, wow.
Air motor uses Z and then 3-digit numbers for all their pieces. They had went as far as, I don't know if they used putty, auto body putty or whatever, and wrote Z024, whatever the head was, in it. And I'm like, I mean, what is this? So I started looking at it when I got it home, and I came up with it was like a 5-horse Fuller and Johnson head. And apparently the bolt pattern was the same because it went right on. But like I said, it was clocked, I think 90 degrees, and they used an updraft Lunkenheimer for the mixer, and it runs like crap.
Right.
It won't run on gas because it constantly sucking fuel and it washes the cylinder out. The only way it would run would be on propane.
Right.
But I got to thinking, I'm like, maybe if I can find a head for it, not. I ain't whatever. Never going to find one of them. So one of the dealers, he came across one, and he knew I was wanting to copy a head, so he got a hold of me, and we worked out a deal. He loaned me the head, and I gave it to Bill, and Bill drew everything up in CAD, and I think I only got like maybe $3,000 in that.
Right.
And then he did the head, the mixer, because I was missing the mixer, and the other thing is he keeps all them CAD files. So if somebody wants it,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
now it's in modern technology. It's in outer space or wherever in the cloud probably.
Oh yeah.
And he can print another one and have. I think he had Cattail do it, and then
Right.
he was nice enough to do all the machine work on it for me as well. So
his shop is amazing. I've never seen it in person, but just looking at the videos that he puts up on here and there, and it's all flat belt driven.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, and he's another guy that he on Facebook posted a bunch of old pictures.
Yes.
We talk about Wendell, having the time to research stuff.
Yep.
He researches stuff and finds some really neat old photos of
Another guy, Wayne Grinning.
Oh yeah,
Dude, how does that guy get so much done in so little time?
I love his shop.
Oh my gosh,
That's like the ideal shop.
Oh, it's like amazing.
It is the ideal shop.
I don't think he ever sleeps.
Can't.
There's no way. He's got to be like a robot or a droid or.
And
something.
he's got if anybody sets a standard on what a restored engine should look like,
oh my gosh,
it'd probably be him.
Right.
I mean, you can't get any better. And he aged. You won't know if that engine was a basket case or if it was perfectly fine before he started, because by the time he's done with it, it's all going to look perfect.
Yeah. Even the presentation base.
Yeah, the presentation base.
Skid. Those are just, he has a cabinet maker or something to do those, and those are just, holy crap, it's just like,
I hate to know much what he has in wood.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's ridiculous, but his work is just, is out of this world. I mean, he's more into the slide valve stuff and the oddball realm of life that I'd love to look at, but there's no way in the world that I'm gonna.
I'd have to sell everything I own and then still take out a loan. One of them.
I'd rather have junky stuff and then one of the
museum quality.
Yeah. But his stuff is amazing, and the amount of work that he does in so little time just baffles me.
Yeah, I know.
It's awesome.
I need to prioritize my life better, apparently, because
me too.
He's got it figured out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, there's other guys out there that do quality work like him. And
Chris Austin. Chris does awesome. Justin Jenkins.
Jenkins, the Eppings.
Yeah, Chris and Rod Epping. Oh, their shop is amazing too.
Oh yeah.
He always puts some pictures and videos and stuff.
I love watching any of them guys that post any videos of stuff they finished.
Oh yeah.
And they have it tuned in to where it's running just absolutely perfect.
Right.
There's if it's a throttle governed, it's firing every time it should be.
Yep.
It's not hunting. If it's hit and miss, it's coasting as absolute long as it can.
Right.
It's just there.
I don't have patience for that.
I do to an extent, but
I just want to get it running. Let's go.
Yeah. But I mean, okay, to my extent would be, all right, I'm going to change governor springs out, and that's going to be
right.
All right, it runs slower. We're better.
Well, Rex Piles, he always said it was a running engine. Just shoot a little starting fluid, and if it hit 2 or 3 times, it's a runner.
Should run with gas.
That's right. Should run with gas.
Yeah.
Where are we at on time on this one? Hell,
almost a half hour.
Oh, we've bullshitted that long?
Yeah.
Oh, this is pretty easy then.
Yeah.
For our first one ever.
I told you we were good at the BS. And so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Who else can we talk about?
Yeah. Who else can we throw under the bus?
Right? No, those guys do amazing. Well, back to Bill has. Chris Wheeler down in Kentucky approached me, I don't know, 2 years ago about a crazy idea that we had both had about making cylinders, tank-cooled cylinders for 2.5 horse famous engines. And I reached out to Bill, and he says, well, yeah, sure, no problem. So here we go, digging down that rabbit hole.
I'm jealous, by the way.
Oh, they're awesome.
I seen it at your show.
Chris got one done. Chris got 5 cylinders. I got 1. We had 6 total made. But Bill put his logo on the bottom so they can never be passed off as originals.
Yeah, never was. So.
Well, no, but somebody in 50 years might not know that.
Oh yeah.
But he did an absolutely phenomenal job on those, and they are just perfect to scale.
You know what it reminds me of? When I seen it, it looked like a tiny Miller engine.
Really?
I don't know why. But
I guess I could see that.
The single-cylinder Millers, they have that real tall, stout sub-base, and they got a real, kind of short cylinder. And for whatever reason, I'm like, what is that?
Right.
And then it dawned on me when I walked up to it, because I was over at Cool Springs, and Chris had the cylinders. He just finished the cylinders.
Well, he brought one to Kyle Spring. It was all complete. Was you?
Yeah.
You see? Oh my gosh! I'm like,
now
I gotta get mine done.
So
I get working on it, I guess.
I'm surprised your cylinder didn't walk off out of the barn.
I think it's still there. No, there's some other people that want them, and I think we're going to cross the bridge about having scale size water pumps made.
Yeah.
And pop mufflers too, and the 2.5 horse.
That'd be awesome.
It's going to get stupid. It's a
fantasy engine.
Oh, it is. It is. You just don't see them. And another thing I had done here a year or two ago was hot tubes for horse and half Hercules.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes. I had 8 of them made. Patterns are hanging on the wall in the kitchen there, but you just never see a hot tube Hercules. I mean, what was it? Ohio Oil had some, larger size, but I always wanted like a horse and a half with a hot tube. So Bill had took like a Myrick chimney, shrunk it down, and then he made an elbow to fit to look to size, and we cast them up, machined them up, and everything, and they look pretty cool on there. I'd show you one.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to get some made for like the 2.5 horse all the way up to 12s, but I want them to fit the Hercules and the associated engines.
Okay.
Pretty close to the same.
Yeah. I mean, 2-bolt.
Yeah. Yeah. Simple.
Yeah.
So that's another endeavor that I want to dig down, but it's coming summertime and shows are coming up and everybody's going to be busy,
Yeah. Yeah. Summertime's terrible for trying to get anything done.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, in any aspect of life, it's terrible trying to get anything done but especially like, your weekends with this hobby.
Right.
You're going to a show or you're going to an auction and,
Well, we got Portland swap meets coming up here in just a few weeks.
Portland, then shortly after that will be Cool Springs.
Yeah. The greatest place on earth, in my opinion.
Engine Mecca.
I wish that was just 2 hours closer.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
It's only 4 hours for me, and I wish it was 2 hours closer.
6.5. We take Bo with us. It's almost a 7-hour ride because he poops his pants on the side of the interstate. So, what do you do when you're 2 years old?
Yeah.
I love going out there. It's just it's phenomenal. I like to go out there and just sit. The flea markets is awesome. Yeah, because it's all engine related stuff. There's some lawnmower stuff, not very much.
Not much. It's they keep it. It's not like going to Portland where you end up half of the show is Cub Cadets or Gravely's.
Right. But at Cool Spring, I mean, I like to get out there on Thursday and walk through the field real quick. Do my hot lap out there. And then I just like to find a building and sit.
Yep.
And just watch, because the mechanical oddities that's out there is just phenomenal.
There's a bunch of monkey motion on everything there.
Oh yeah.
It's and you're right. Yeah, that's kind of. I've never been there and got bored.
No.
And they keep adding stuff. There's no shortage of new things every time you go.
Right.
And I always hit up the old buildings, and they're even rearranging them frequently.
Yep, absolutely.
And there's always something different.
We went, touch base on Nate Smith earlier, and Nate and Mark Mahoney, whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
Mark Mahoney, Andy Steele, and those guys, they run the Parks Wood Shop out there.
Yeah.
But then Nate has that little building on the path up to the snow engine.
Yep.
I forget what it's called, but he has done just awesome stuff in there with all the knob and tube electric stuff. And
it's got the White Middletons.
Yes.
And there's a vertical in there. I forget what. It's like a power generation.
Like a Reeves or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell it is, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
He's put a lot of time into that. But and I think I would have put a lot of time into the place too if I was not 6 hours away, 6.5 hours away.
Yep.
Those guys are 2 hours away. It helps when you're that close. I mean, there are some people around our area here that go out there monthly, weekly, whatever. I can't do that.
Nope.
I wish I could, but I can't.
Yeah, I'd love to. I've got a friend of mine that he's an engineer there, as they call him, and he keeps trying to get me, and I'm like, I can't dedicate the time that I need to come and do that type of stuff.
Right.
I'd love to.
Right.
I'd love to go there and play with that stuff, but I can't.
Right.
At least not right now.
Right.
Maybe down the road that might change, or I get my life together. But
right. Well, just when you think your ducks are in a row, it's just like a loose pack of squirrels or something running around. I mean, it does happen.
It's like, you look back when you was a child and you look at your parents like, man, they really got it together. And then you get to their age when you get to that age, it's like they had no idea what they were doing.
Right.
They were just really good at making it look like they knew what they were
Right.
doing.
That's kind of where we're at now too.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Period displays. You brought up with like what Nate was doing in that building.
Yes.
Period displays is something that I find fascinating.
It is.
To spend the time to put something together.
Right.
You know, and make it.
Well, how many of those little sheds do you have around your place now?
I've got 2.
Just 2?
Just 2 right now.
I thought you had like 14 or 15 or something like that.
I'd like to.
There's a bunch of them.
I've got 2 that have, one of them's got a Myrick or a Myrick, however you pronounce it.
Right. Like a 4-horse, isn't
4-horse engine, and then it's got a Myrick pump jack in it.
Okay.
And then I've got, hanging on the wall a bunch of like 24-inch rigid pipe wrenches. And
yeah.
There's a gasometer sitting in the corner.
Right.
I think it's a new old stock oil well supply company gasometer.
I had a bunch of those made. Everybody said, if you get them made, we'll take one. So I had a bunch of them made, and it's like everybody ghosts.
Shocker.
Right? So I got 6 gasometers sitting around here just like, what the hell am I going to do with these now? I have no idea.
That's why that one I got I thought would be cool to remake.
Right.
I don't think it may be what it cost. I don't know the reason for
They're
it.
about $350 a piece to get them.
Well, that ain't bad.
Well, no, to get them made. John Walnut out there at where Connecticut, wherever the hell he's at.
Yeah.
He made them. Did a just awesome job. I mean, top notch.
Yeah, I seen. I think you posted it on one page, Oilfield Engine Society page or something like that when you had them done. But yeah, I got that stuff. We
got a Bovard or something too out there.
Well, I got the Myrick and the Myrick pump jack.
Okay.
And then I got another building that I put up at the end of last year. It's got a 4-horse oil well supply company engine that I got off of you.
Okay.
That's getting replaced.
Okay. You found a nicer one?
I found a nicer one.
Well, that's okay. I mean, hey, you had to start with something.
Yeah.
You had nothing, had to start with something. So.
And the pump jack that goes with it is a oil well supply company.
Okay.
So kind of keeping with the theme of
right.
Some in my head it would be the Myrick or Myrick. People get butthurt if I say it wrong.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. I found an ad somebody had on the internet that was from like 22 that showed that engine, that pump jack, and then actually even showed the same wellhead casing that I got sitting outside. So I kind of based that building off of that ad.
That picture in the ad, yeah.
To kind of tell the story like, hey, this is what you could have bought back in the day,
right?
And would have potentially been in a setup like this. And then the same with the oil well supply company engine and the pump jack, same deal.
Right.
I have big thick oil well supply company catalog, and I can go right in it and show you like, hey, right here, this is what it costs. This you could have bought it, and this is probably the setup that it would have.
Well,
been.
You're over there in like the oil well area of Ohio.
Yeah, we got a lot of old stuff still sitting around me, and I'm fortunate. I know you'd like a building like I've got, and I keep keeping my eye out for you. But
we're in the middle of a cornfield too, so that stuff does not, it don't pop up around here.
Yeah, and that stuff's still around where I'm at.
Right.
And I've been in the hobby long enough, and I'm fortunate to have a really good friend that's in the oil field industry, and he's such a good resource at finding this stuff for me because we're both like-minded. He's just 10 minutes over the road or over the hill from me.
Right.
And he talks to all his buddies, the old timers, things like that, and tells them what I'm doing or what he wants to do because he collects engines as well. And you get good leads on stuff.
Right.
And these buildings, with the craze of tearing barns down right now and getting 10 and selling 10, some of that stuff you got to save.
Right.
And you don't save. People don't collect buildings.
Right. No. No.
Or
so
not that often.
We're in the demolition business, for a living, and the amount of barns that's coming down is just unreal.
It's crazy. The Amish up by us if it's a barn and
people are giving
it looks neglected, you'll see in like a day they take a whole barn down.
Yeah.
And they band all the wood up and it looks nice and pretty, and I'm like,
I think a lot of yuppie people out on the West Coast and stuff are buying that stuff.
Yeah.
It could be. I mean,
we've shipped rail cars full of reclaimed wood.
Wow.
There's a place in Cambridge, Ohio.
I would love to build like an old if I was younger and more enthused, I guess, I would love to find like an old bank barn and just move it out here.
Yeah.
But now it's just there's just no.
I'd love to make a barn house.
Oh, I understand that one. That would be awesome. Some distant relatives of Rachel's, she had built or bought a bank barn, and moved it to her property, and they have like weddings and stuff in it. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just phenomenal. But money to her is just no issue because she owns a big company, and but it really turned out it's awesome.
I like seeing that stuff get saved.
I do too,
and repurposed.
I do too.
Because at least it gives it new life. It's going to live longer than it probably would have.
Right.
The purpose may have changed, the use for it may have changed, but it's still there.
Yeah, I mean, people are putting that the hand-hewed bar beams and stuff in their house, mantles, whatever else, and it's kind of cool. Yeah. It's like the Model T I just acquired. I chased that sucker for 21 years. I first seen it when I was like 15 years old. It was beautiful. Sat in a barn, like they drove it in, parked it, walked away. Years ago, the barn fell down, and I thought it was destroyed.
Yeah.
This past fall, I seen it for the first time, and it was rough. I'm like, oh shit! It's time.
I can confirm.
Time took a toll.
She is rough.
Time took a toll on this old girl, but the main barn beam only missed it by just a few inches.
Yeah,
and that's what saved it, really, I think. But that barn right there was some other stuff in that barn, and the people that farmed the land there where this farm was, they got with me just a few miles down the road, and said, "Hey, are you interested in this stuff?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, why not?" So they brought down a bunch of horse-drawn stuff and stuff like that. So I'm like, what am I going to do with this? I don't know. But then they said, hey, we'll get that Model T out for you. I said, well, what's it going to cost me? He goes, oh, we'll figure something out. I'm like, oh, boy, here we go. Well, a case of Mountain Dew later, there's a Model T sitting.
Oh, you can't beat that.
No.
You can't beat that.
The more I look at it, it's like, what did I get myself into? But then again, it's just like, it ain't that damn bad,
Yeah, but where are you going to find another? It's a panel truck. I mean, how many of them things are out there?
It's a local panel truck too.
Even better.
Came from a grocery store up here in Brookville, so it's just like
if you got the history on it, that makes it way better.
Yeah, they're supposed to be getting me pictures and everything, how it's all lettered and stuff. So eventually we'll get to that eventually, but we got a lot of engine projects and stuff that we're trying to finish and get started on.
Yeah,
I just finished up a little economy yesterday. I don't know why. I love those little engines. Hercules Economy, I love them. Maytags.
They run good.
Oh, they do. They run great. Maytags. A lot of people hate Maytags. I love Maytags.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Well, I mean, that's what I started with,
Yeah, same here. But
I started with a little horse and a half Fuller and Johnson, which is still back on the shelf, and some Maytags, and that's where I got my start. And
my first engine that I tore apart and restored was a Fairbanks Z, and then my first engine I bought with my own money was a 6-horse International M.
Right.
Still got them both.
Still got, yeah.
Yep. Never get rid of them.
Yeah. I still got the Fuller, but I got rid of the Maytags. But little Briggs motors, I love them stupid things. I mean, you can.
I got a pallet full of Briggs if you.
Oh boy.
Pallet.
A pallet.
Double stacked.
Oh boy.
I'll send you a picture.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
See if we have to have them.
Yeah,
but I mean, if you think about it, I mean, throw one up on the bench, clean the points, clean the fuel system out, 10, 15, 20 minutes later, you got a little Briggs & Stratton sitting there running.
Yeah.
I mean, this is cool as hell.
I remember back in high school, my friend that is in the oil field, I'd bought a little Briggs & Stratton. I don't even remember what it was. It may have been an overhead valve Briggs. I don't remember. But it was stuck.
Right.
The carb was stuck on it. And we were in the garage at like midnight. This is what we did on weekends.
Oh, yeah.
We'd stay down in the garage midnight 1, 2, tear stuff apart. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget, we couldn't get that carb to free up. And we got fed up with it. And we were young and dumb. We lit the thing on fire, the carb on fire, spraying engine cleaner in it. A little bit of heat freed it up.
Really?
Got it working, and we had the engine ready to go.
Oh, absolutely.
Couldn't get. I'm like, I'll just go find a carb for it. I was going to get on eBay.
Right.
And he goes, no, and he sprayed lighter fluid, carb cleaner in it.
Right.
And he was going to town at it, and me being a prick, I walked over and lit it on fire in his hands. And
right.
He dropped it down, and it sat there and burnt. It didn't, I don't know. It was one of those pot metal carbs.
Probably didn't hurt nothing.
It didn't burn very long, and it freed up, and we threw it on there. The thing ran.
I'll be darned.
I
couldn't get that lucky. I guess I have, but
I think you have.
Yeah, well,
looking around me here,
some of this stuff, like this big Cummins, that's Jimmy Rush's.
Yeah,
that's the only Model P Cummins known in the world. It's a really cool piece. I really can't tell you much about it because I don't know shit about it. So
it looks cool.
It runs awesome. It looks cool, and if he was here, and I think eventually we're going to start when we get deeper into this podcast thing, we'll have some visitors or whatnots, hosting or whatever,
Yeah.
but
Guests.
yeah.
Well, we just hit 45 minutes.
Holy cow.
So
let's cut it off and we'll do it again and see what happens. And hopefully everybody enjoys us talking about the engine hobby and how we've kind of got started into it.
We got plenty to talk about because both of us have done this for 25 years.
At least.
We're young. We're both in our 30s, but we've done this for a long time. Been around a lot and talked to a lot of the old timers. So I'd like to think we got a little bit of knowledge to share, and we'd like to, the whole idea of this podcast, and I'm going to plug my YouTube channel, Cast Iron Curiosities. If you like old engines, go check it out.
I suggest it.
But if you like podcasts or like old engines, the idea behind this is going to be to get some new blood into this hobby.
Yeah.
By no means do I think the hobby's dying.
No.
There's a lot of guys that's in their 40s that are just getting into it,
Right.
50s getting into it.
We need some teenagers, some 20-year-olds,
But the kids that are in high school, there's no longer shop classes anymore. Ag, FFA.
Right.
Only a handful. I know a lot of the schools are doing away with a lot of them programs, probably due to funding and whatnot. But and they're not exposed to this stuff. And we were fortunate to come across this and stumble into it. It's been such a great hobby. It's defined my life. How I live.
Stuff,
how I live is because of this hobby. So
our vacations are based around engine shows.
Yeah. So enough of us yapping. If you like this, leave a comment because I'm probably going to post this on YouTube. Like I said, this is our first attempt at this. So any feedback, good, bad, and indifferent, is appreciated.
It definitely help.
To make this better.
If you want us to hit on certain topics or subjects or certain things, we can try our best to do that.
Oh yeah. So this will be on YouTube probably first. We'll find out some place to post this for an actual podcast site, and I'm sure this will end up on Facebook.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
So.
Oh boy.
This will be fun.
Yeah, it'd be something. But hey, thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit, and look forward to doing another one.
Yep. Thanks for sticking out to the end, and until next time, go get your hands dirty.
Yeah.